So this video, I'm going to show you how to prep your designs for custom cut stickers that we will create on the Roland. This is an updated video from before, having all the steps you need to create your design. So we're going to start by setting up a new file in Illustrator, and we want ours to be 22 inches by 12 inches as a height. The height can kind of be whatever, and we'll adjust it later as we need, but 22 inches is a good width to fit on the media, to not change the sizes of your stickers and keep things easy. So I'm going to go ahead and hit create. And we have a great design that we'll use as an example today, that Bella Moetze made. And so I'm going to go down to File, Place, and go get the design. So this one is a PDF. You can do this with PDF, PNG, or AI files, JPEGs, really anything. I'm going to resize this a little bit smaller. And if you want to, I'm on my PC right now, so this might look a little better for those of you on a Mac, or a little bit different. But if you have this selected, you can always check the size that your sticker design is. Sometimes it's right up here. Sometimes you have to bring it up. I'm going to go over to properties, and it tells me right here what height and width the size is. So if I go ahead and do this, I'm going to link the proportions. Let's say I know I want my sticker to be 3 inches wide. I can just 3-inch in and it'll tab over and adjust it. Another way is to put your rulers on. So I'm going to do the shortcut Control R or Command R and put my rulers on. And that's another way I can kind of use this as a measuring tool to kind of see where I'm at. But let's go here. And so I've got it, sized. We can always change it later. The first thing I'm going to do is go to embed. So when it's clicked, selected on your artboard, you can go right here to embed. And now it's not linked. The actual design is in here. That's super important so that when we save this as an EPS and send it to another computer and to go to the Roland, that it actually has your artwork in there. So embed. And then the next thing we want to do is go to Object, Rasterize. Rasterizing it is going to make it into pixels. But for some reason, if we don't do this, we get error messages on the Roland quite often. So we want to rasterize each image before we do the cut line. And it usually remembers what you did last, but we're going to keep it in CMYK. We want the resolution to be high, and we want the background to be white. And I'm going to hit OK. Now, if this was a transparent PNG and it had a transparent background, that would put a white background on it, but that's okay because it's on a white sheet. So make sure your sticker is kind of ready to be a sticker. And then you'll see it kind of adjusted the resolution a little bit. It kind of changed it. So no longer are these editable, I love that word, editable anchor points. These are now, it's like a picture, like a JPEG. So we've embedded it, we've rasterized it, and now we're ready to create our cut line. So if you wanted to just make this kind of a basic shape, we could go in here, get a rectangle tool, a rounded rectangle tool, an ellipse, whatever shape you wanted to start if you wanted it to be kind of a standard shape. I'm going to get the rounded rectangle tool right now just to show you. And I want my fill to be none. And I'm going to give my stroke this magenta color, the CMYK magenta. It's not doing anything. We'll go ahead and give it a shape. I don't know why it wasn't behaving. So no fill. We're going to put it at a 2.5 stroke and CMYK magenta. So again, our cut line has to be very specific to what it is. So we've got CMYK magenta stroke to start, no fill, it can't be white, it can't be anything, and 0.25 points thick. Oops. So now I'm going to line this up to be my cut line. So this is my cut line for my sticker. So I'm going to create where I want the machine to cut. And I like this background, so I'm going to go right to the edge with a little bleed. So remember, bleed is when your design goes past the edge of the paper. It goes all the way to the edge, but to design it that way, you got to go past it. So the cut line is going to be just inside that background pattern so that we don't get any white edges. It'll be really nice. So I've got my shape the way I want it. I've got the 0.25, the CMYK stroke, no fill, but we have to do one more thing. So on this stroke panel, or stroke swatch, I'm gonna double click the CMYK magenta swatch to get the swatch options menu. And this is very specific. You have to change the swatch name to cut contour. And it's going to be one word with the C's capitalized, everything else lowercase, and no space. You have to spell it correctly, super important. This is like a code to tell the printer, hey, that's not a line I want you to print. I want you to cut on that line. So it's got to say cut contour. This has to be changed to spot color. And then if you chose it originally as the CMYK magenta, this will be correct, but just double check that nothing changed. It needs to be 0, 100, 0, 0. And then you can hit OK. And you'll know you did it right because now that swatch has a little white triangle in the corner saying it's a spot color, and that'll be a good sign that you remembered to change it. Now this print is ready to be a sticker, but we want more than one sticker. This is going to be a big waste of material. So I'm going to select both of these by doing a rubber band select, and I'm going to hold my option key down, my alt key, and do some duplications. And I'm going to hold shift while I do it too to keep it nice in line. I'm going to look for those little pink guides. And I'm going to fill my artboard with stickers. Now let's say I like these big ones, but I want some smaller ones too. So I'm going to select these, I'm going to duplicate, but then I'm going to scale them down to get some smaller ones. And I always think it's nice to have a variety of stickers, of sticker sizes when you make them. Sometimes I have a habit of going too close, and then it's really hard to cut sheets into, like cut them into smaller sheets to be able to make it easier to trim. So if you don't want to be like me, don't go too close to the edges or too close to each other. We'll cut that off. And then this is almost ready. We got to do a couple things though. So because I changed the size of the sticker as I was filling the sheet, if I go click on this guy right now, oh, mine is still a 0.25, but yours probably won't be, because usually when we scale something, it also changes the size of the width of the line. So, and mine probably didn't because of a setting. So what you want to do when you're all done, and this is something I do when I come to check your stickers. So if you want to, you can always ask me to come check your file before you submit it for printing, is I click on one of my pink lines, one of my cut lines. I go to select, same, stroke color, and it's kind of tricky to see, but it's gotten all those cut lines now. And I can go here and be like, yes, everything's 0.25. If one was a little off, let me show you what happens. We'll make it bigger for an example. So I'm going to go to select, same, not stroke weight, but stroke color. It's again got all those magenta cut contours, but you see how it doesn't say anything right here? If I go in here and click that, now they're all 0.25 again. So that's a really important thing to do at the end to make sure everything's ready to go. And the other thing you can do is save some material, because this isn't cheap, by getting rid of some of the excess. So I'm going to go here to the artboard tool, go down here, and just bring this guy up a little bit. You can still have a little border, but you don't maybe need as much of a border. Oh, geez. I'm using a trackpad, so it's always trickier. And then go back out here. Don't worry about the border here. You can make that smaller or not, but we're going to kind of work with that width. And if you're not sure if you like the size, you can remember always check on stuff, see what the size of it is here, if that's kind of where you want. If you know exactly what size you want, that's a great tool to use. And that's all you need to do. So then when you're ready to save it and send it to me for printing, you want to go to File, Save As on your computer. And we're going to do stickers, Ella M, and then I'm going to put Space Cat. And we want to save it as an EPS. This is a file type that the printer software will read to be able to know that this is to print and cut. So we're going to do an EPS, hit save. I just saved in my downloads like I always never want you to. You don't have to change anything here, just hit OK, and then you'll give me this EPS file for printing. PDFs work as well, but we usually do EPS. Remember, if you need me to give you double check your file, just let me know and I will pop over and do a quick check on your work. The number, the main things that people forget or the main mistakes people make is when they rasterize their picture, they also rasterize their cut line and that messes it up. Or they have contour spelled wrong because it's a weird word. Or something got messed up with their lines. So make sure you do everything correctly so we can streamline the printing and creation of your stickers. Thanks.